Stop playing Hydlide!
To play the shitty games that suck ass, he'd rather have a buffalo take a diarrhea dump in his ear. He'd rather eat the rotten asshole of a roadkill skunk and down it with beer. He's the angriest gamer you've ever heard. He's the angry Nintendo nerd. He's the angry Atari Sega nerd. He's the angry video game nerd.
Hydlide. I hate Hydlide. I hate this game so much.
Oh, Hydlide. Just saying the name gives you a gag reflex like you're about to puke. Hydlide. Sounds so wretched and foul. Maybe it's pronounced Hydlide, but who knows? And who even knows what the fuck it means?
The only reason I even know about this game was because my older brother had it and told me that I couldn't play it, so he hid it away in his bedroom. Of course, being the crafty 5-year-old that I was, I still managed to find it and play it. And even back then as a kid, I knew this game sucked. Playing it again, I've reaffirmed to myself that it sucks. It sucks so bad. Where do I even start?
It's a typical adventure game where you play as a guy with a sword who has to explore a fantasy world, fight monsters, collect treasures, and rescue a princess. Picking up a game like this in itself is like embarking on an adventure. You can stick to the familiar NES classics, or you could be a brave explorer in search of the unknown. You might uncover a gem or a turd covered in vomit. And this is the turd covered in vomit. While the concept isn't very unique, the first thing you see is a dragon that shoots fire at a princess, making her explode into 3 fairies. I've never seen that happen.
I'm sorry, did you get lost and confused? Let me recap that for you. There's a dragon, and there's a princess. And then the dragon and the princess explodes into fairies. You need to get the fairies to put her back together again. And you play as this guy. This is the best part, seriously. I am not making this up. The character that you play as, the main hero, his name is Jim. Jim the Knight. Real fantasy right there!
As soon as you start playing the game, the first thing that comes to anybody's mind is Legend of Zelda. Now, be prepared, we're going to reference Zelda an awful lot. It seems like Hydlide would have ripped off Zelda, but actually Hydlide came first on the PC-88, which was a home computer in Japan. It came out on the NES after, following in Zelda's wake.
So, Hydlide did it first. But Zelda did it right. Zelda's world is massive and filled with secrets. Hydlide's world is a 5x5 square grid and is completely uninteresting. Zelda has quick-moving screens to keep the action going. Hydlide's screen shifting is jumpy and awkwardly slow. There's something else that Zelda has that Hydlide doesn't. What was it called? Oh yeah, fun!
Imagine buying this game based on its cover, expecting something as good as Zelda, and then going home and playing it and finding out it's a piece of shit. If there's anything this game truly ripped off, it's the music. It's just a variation on the Indiana Jones theme, and it never stops. It's like winding up a music box and letting it play for an eternity.
And this irritating, grating music? There's no way to turn it off. It's with you the whole time. This brief time I've talked about it, it's already getting on my nerves. But you better get used to it, because it's the only song you're gonna hear for the whole game.
Except for the last screen, which also sounds like Indiana Jones.
Right at the first screen, there are monsters you want to kill, some slimes and a kobold. So, instinctively, I go to kill them, slapping every button on the controller to attack. But why is it? I'm pressing the buttons, why aren't I attacking? Well, it turns out you have two modes. Holding the A button switches you from defend mode to attack mode. While in attack mode, you deal a lot more damage, but you also take a lot more damage. Activate attack mode, and then you run into enemies. And you hope you win. I'm sorry, can I just talk about how much I hate this as a game mechanic? Think of every video game ever. They all taught you the same thing. Touching enemies is bad. And here, Hydlide makes it the closest thing to gameplay it has. At least with a game like Yeast, you can see your character swinging your sword, so you feel like you're doing something. But with Hydlide, you just mash your faces together until somebody falls over.
In Zelda, you actually see the sword come out. But here, there's nothing. Did they forget to animate it? Am I supposed to use my imagination like a fucking board game? When you kill something, they just disappear. Nothing happens. They don't burst or make a sound effect or do anything to make you feel the satisfaction of killing an enemy. There's no skill involved. You'll never know whether or not you're hitting the monster or the monster's hitting you. It's just as random as rolling the dice or playing the lottery. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
It's all based on brute strength. It's expected that you are physically stronger than your enemy, not smarter or more strategic. The only real advantage you can give yourself is to attack an enemy from behind, which makes sense. But the problem is that almost all of the enemies don't have a back to attack. Most of the enemy sprites only face one direction. It's a total crapshoot to hit their backs. Most of the time, you don't. So the whole point of the game is to collect the fairies. You can actually get one of the fairies right at the beginning. Go one screen south, and there will be a bunch of trees. A fairy is placed randomly in one of these trees, and you just need to touch it. But if you choose the wrong tree, bees! Ah! Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! Jim the Knight, killed by bees. In case you couldn't tell by the abysmally small bars on the side, you start off weaker than an infant. So before you can really do anything, and I mean do anything, you have to grind experience. And you are way too weak to fight anything else. So you start attacking slimes to increase— oh god damn it! Slimes! Slimes killed me! I mean the bees, yeah, I get that, but slimes? You start killing slimes to increase your experience. And the experience bar goes up so slowly that f***ing—
If you're lucky, your experience will go up, but it only goes up 1 pixel at a time. If you want to level up, you gotta fill up the whole bar. This is what it looks like in fast speed, but can you imagine how long it takes to do this? You can't, unless you played it.
I did the math. To get from level 1 to level 2, you have to kill 100 slimes. That's a great way to start any game. With busy work. And just to make sure grinding takes as long as possible, there's only one way to heal. You have to find yourself a nice patch of grass and stand perfectly still. Whee! Call of Duty stole this!
You can also do a magic attack by pressing the B button, but it's really confusing. You have to scroll through your different magic spells, and when you get to the spell you want, hit the A button to be in attack mode, and then hit B to cast the spell. By the time you do all that, you're already dead!
The only useful spell is Turn, because it makes enemies go in the opposite direction they are currently going. It's one of the few ways to help you attack people in the back. The other, presumably cooler spells, Fire, Ice, Wave, and Flash, those kill enemies. Awesome, right? Well, joke's on you, because if you kill an enemy with a spell, you don't get any experience for it. Even worse, they don't do anything to some enemies, such as all the tough ones you would actually want to use magic on. Shooting a vampire with a fireball makes sense, right? Well, too bad. It does nothing. Which means I need to do more grinding, so I start killing bats. Oh, I'm sorry. Sturges. Stolen straight from Dungeons and Dragons, ladies and gentlemen. At least these bats give a decent amount of experience. Oh, son of a bitch! Are you used to that sound yet? Because you're gonna hear it a lot.
Whenever you die, take a guess what happens. You go back to the beginning. Yep, it's one of those games. No extra lives, no continues, you don't get diddly dick.
There is a save system, but it's so messed up. In the menu, you have a save, load, and password option. Naturally, you think, passwords? Those are dumb. I'll just save. And yes, you do save exactly where you are. But Hydlide doesn't have a battery backup. That means you lose your save when you turn it off. Imagine, if you will, a little 5-year-old ProJared who is so used to saving in The Legend of Zelda that he saved in Hydlide and turned it off so he can go have dinner. And then when he came back afterwards, everything was gone! It's not that it takes a long time, it's just that everything is so tedious. Okay, fine, I accept that. Only save while playing the game. I'll just get the password and... Oh no. What is this jumbled mess? I know long passwords are something you just have to deal with in older games, but come on! They couldn't even break it up? It's so easy to lose your place in the password while reading it. What if you write it down wrong?
The time it takes to write it down and then re-enter it is almost the same time it takes to just start the game over. What were they thinking? They couldn't come up with a better way? How about just giving me the password after I die? How about extra lives? How about a continue option? Or even better, how about a battery backup like in Zelda and actually making save really save the game? Load? When would I ever want to load a game from within the game? If I died, I'd be doing this from the main menu screen with the password option, unlike the password option from the menu within the game, which gives you the password that you got from the save option. Speed? Do I really care what that does? Game? Does that let me pick a different game? Because that would be a good fucking idea!
I swear, everything about Hydlide is designed to go against what you've been accustomed to as a child.
Even if you get used to this whole password fiasco, figuring out how to play the game is a puzzle itself. There's treasure chests, which some you can open and others you can't. Sometimes you go into dark caves, but this is suicide because you're just going to run into walls and get killed by fireballs. And sometimes you just die at complete random. There's probably something in the dark killing me, like a rat or some kind of pitfall. Who knows? You can't see it unless you get a lantern. To get the lantern, you have to kill a vampire. How do you kill the vampire? Oh, the cross, of course. Oh, wait, what the hell? Oh, you gotta hit him from the back. Ugh. Anyway, I got the lantern. Now I'm going back to that dark cave to figure out what the fuck was killing me. I don't see anything, so that only concludes there was nothing. That's a cheat if I ever saw one. The game kills you with nothing.
So yeah, I make everything run away from me in the maze so that I can get this chest. And inside is... a pot. Yay! Don't even know what this is for. It makes another cave entrance appear in the labyrinth, but that's about it. So I make my way through that pothole and find a key and a bunch of treasure chests, which you need to take back to the graveyard and open another treasure chest to get a jewel. And the jewel is extremely important to get because it does absolutely nothing! These trees are trying to kill me.
And what the fuck is this? Am I fighting a rock?
You, nature. Through enough trial and error, I end up at the shore, and my next goal is to kill these 2 wizards. But before you do that, you need to be strong enough, which means more grinding. And of course, more grinding also means...
You write down the password, die, enter the password, pick up where you left off, make it a few steps further, write down the next password, die, re-enter the password, and repeat.
Here's the thing about these wizards. They have the last fairy, and you can only get it if you kill both of them at the same time. The only way to do that is to hit them both with the wave spell, which goes right through enemies. Which is all fine and dandy, but the wave spell can only be shot left or right. But look at the land here! There's twice as much vertical space as there is horizontal. There's no easy way to do this. The only solution I came up with was to distract one into hitting me while the other lines up. But the very instant I get the last fairy, you gotta be ready, because they bring you right to a dragon. Nothing hurts the dragon, by the way. None of the spells, and attacking it only brings... I got stuck here. I was stuck between a rock and a dragon place. I only figured out that you're supposed to get into the castle because I missed the dragon with a fire spell. You're supposed to burn down the tree in front of it to get inside. How are people supposed to figure this out? You can't burn down any other tree in the game at all except for this one. That's not clever. That's inconsistent. Inside the castle is a bunch of monsters and a single gravestone. Touching the gravestone breaks it, I guess? Which somehow drains all of the water outside? But what doesn't make any sense is that without the water, the dragon suddenly becomes vulnerable. I painstakingly kill him by slapping him a few times, waiting 3 minutes to heal, and then slapping him some more until he dies. When he dies, I get the medicine. This may be the most important item in the game. It makes it so that when you die, you instantly get filled back up to full health. but it only works once, and you need it, and I mean need it, to beat the final boss. If you waste it anywhere else, you are completely boned. Also inside the drained water is a chest that has a ruby, which doesn't seem to do anything other than make the final boss, yeah this guy, appear inside the dragon's castle. And fighting him is the worst. Even at the maximum level with maximum strength, it's completely luck if you manage to kill him. Attacking him causes you to die faster than he gets damaged, so you actually need to defeat him in defend mode. There is no strategy for this. All I could do was throw myself at him until I won, which took about 8 or 9 times. But hey, it worked! The big guy is dead, the fairies come together, the princess is saved, and... Congratulations! My reward is these 2 frames of animation. Way to go, Jim!
Do I feel accomplished? No. I feel like this game just wasted my fucking time, making me have to figure out all this cryptic shit.
That's it. It just brings you back to the title screen afterwards. There's no credits or anything. That hurt. That hurt to play. That's why my final rating for this game is a bee sting out of 10. It's super short and can be beaten in a few hours, but for how brief it is, it was one of the most painful games I have ever played. Hydlide only lasts as long as it does because it uses arbitrary difficulty and mandatory grinding to make up for a lack of substance. And if that doesn't hurt enough, the ear-bleeding music will. And let's be honest here, it isn't fun to play.
That's not to say Zelda didn't have its own cryptic shit. You have to burn a bush to reveal a staircase, and there's thousands of bushes where it could have been. There's a lake where you have to use a flute, a statue that you have to push, and a specific rock where you're supposed to lay a bomb. I'm only raising the question, what is it we love about all the puzzle solving that goes on in Zelda? Perhaps it wasn't as hard to figure out, maybe there were more clues within the game, and people discuss this game much more, sharing all the secrets. But I do have to admit, my first time playing through Zelda, I got stumped a lot too. Maybe it just boils down to the fact that it's a much more well-designed game, and it's fun, so you enjoy playing through it and trying to figure it all out.
Hydlide just doesn't have the same fulfillment. It's a mediocre adventure game with some serious flaws.
I think my brother knew. I think he knew how much this game sucked and let me keep stealing it out of his room as a form of punishment.
And that's what you get for reaching into the dark depths of the NES library. You might as well be reaching into a dog's asshole, because all you're gonna find is shit.
Crafty bastard.